Welcome back to the Sin and Twin podcast. It's your girl Sin, and I'm here with my twin,
Jay, aka Harbinard. What up?
Today's guest, we've got.
I know Sin used to curse.
Why don't you tell us a bit about your business? We have this thing, like I despise Jay.
I'm just here for comedic relief. I don't know why she's not.
This is me, guys. I want to rewind a little bit.
You are now listening to the Sin and Twin podcast.
Welcome back to the Sin and Twin podcast. It's your girl Sin, and I'm here with my twin.
Yo, it's Jay, aka Harbinard. What up?
Today's guest, we've got Lindsay here from Sweeter Than Sweet Cupcakes. Welcome, Lindsay.
Hey.
I'm so happy to have you on.
Me too.
I'm so glad. So, Lindsay owns a business located in Walden, New York. Why don't you tell us a bit about your business, and then we'll get to how you got there.
Okay.
Yes.
So I just opened a new shop, 81B West Main Street.
Come through.
Yes, come through, please.
Spend that money.
I'm not far from the old shop, like 30 seconds.
Yeah. So what do you have? Just cupcakes? What do you have available at Sweeter Than Sweet Cupcakes?
Any dessert you desire. So a lot of the stuff is order only.
Okay.
But I do always have cupcakes. Sometimes I've had other treats like cookies and the good old-fashioned crack.
Crack. We love the crack.
Yes.
What is crack? I mean, I eat it. I just don't know what it is.
So it's saltine crackers, butter and brown sugar, and then like chocolate on top. White chocolate, milk chocolate, whatever kind of chocolate. And then sometimes I spice it up with a little strawberry crunch or Reese's.
That's the one for me.
Yes.
The strawberry crunch. So let's start from the beginning for you as far as your baking.
Okay.
When did you start getting into just baking things in general? Like, was this something you were into as a kid? Is this something that you, as you got older, you were like, I like desserts, so I'm going to start making them?
So I always liked to bake, but I was never like, oh, let me do this every day.
Right.
So right before I had Brayden, I started making
Shout
stuff.
out to B.
Yes, B,
Baby
my boy. Right before I had him, it was like Christmas time, so I started making cookies and stuff, and people were like, I posted pictures randomly on Facebook, and people were like, oh my God, that's a picture from a magazine. And I was like, no, man, like, I made that.
So they were saying that you were posting pictures?
Yes. Yeah. I was like, no. So then after I had him, I was home and like bored, you know how that goes.
Sure do.
And I had recently gotten clean because I'm in recovery. So I didn't really have friends like that yet. Nobody trusted me yet. So I wasn't working yet. None of that. And basically I just started baking and posting pictures, and somebody was like, you need to sell this stuff. And I was like, nobody's going to buy that from me. And then people started reaching out like, yo, can I buy this stuff from you? Will you do an order? And I was like, sure. And then it just got huge out of my parents' kitchen.
Including us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause we used to order before Lindsay opened her shop. You know, I used to text her and be like, hey, you have any cupcakes? And she'd be like, yeah. Come by. And I'd roll up to her house, pull into her driveway, and there'd be like 3 other cars there. I'd have to wait on a line to get them.
Yo, do you guys...
We were frequent flyers in our household.
Do you remember the flash sales?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. It would be like me in my parents' kitchen, which obviously I'm sure you guys know is hectic.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I would just post like, okay, I have this flavor and this flavor, whatever flavors. And it would be like message after message after message. And I'd be like making boxes and throwing cupcakes in there. And then 10 minutes later, I'd be sold out.
Yeah, it got to the point where like I'd see her post like 2 hours later, and then I'd text her and she'd be like, sorry, dude.
Yeah.
I'm all out. Thanks a lot, Lindsay.
You were an hour and 40 minutes too late.
Yep.
The flash sales used to stress me out because
Yeah.
it actually, full transparency, I turned on notifications for your Instagram because that's how quickly she would get sold out.
Yeah.
So I would turn on the notifications so that I could know the second she posted a flash sale and I could get me some damn cupcakes because they were good.
Yes.
They were good. And my family tears them up every single
Can
time.
we talk about the strawberry crunch real quick?
Yeah.
Just because I feel like it's important for people to know about this, because they're probably going to want to come to Sweeter Than Sweet after this. But can you explain to them your strawberry crunch cupcakes?
All right. It's strawberry cake, strawberry flavored cake. strawberry flavored cream cheese frosting, which then I dip in the crunch. The crunch is strawberry wafer cookies, golden Oreos, and something else.
Dying
Not
right
gonna
now.
say.
I'm sorry.
yeah,
It's nothing
Some
bad.
of it is secret.
Yeah, we can't
We
give
can't
out
give it
all
all
the
out.
goodies.
Yeah, because then you guys will make them.
Yes.
They won't be as good, but
They won't look right, but it's okay. And then I do a stabilized whipped cream, which has cream cheese in it, which is why I think everybody likes it. And then I put a little slice of a fresh strawberry on top.
nice. And it's like the old ice cream bars
Yeah.
from like the cafeteria, the strawberry
yeah.
shortcake.
It's my
Yeah.
favorite
Yeah,
one.
so when she first made those, we were like flipping out. We were getting them all the time, eating them all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
And, go ahead.
the problem I have now is I do too many flavors, and like this one likes this flavor, this one likes
Yeah.
that flavor. So like it's hard for me because I'm trying to like slim my list down. Like really what I've been learning is like if you have a restaurant, let's say, you don't want to have a menu with like a million things on it, or you want to have a menu with like 5 or 10 things that you do
Right.
great,
Yep.
right? So I'm trying to do that, but like it's hard, and like obviously I can't have all these flavors every day.
Yep.
So I'm working on that right now.
You can count on every single family function that we have. Sweeter Than Sweet Cupcakes participated in dessert in some
Oh, yeah.
way, shape, or form.
Oh, yeah.
And then every single time you've got me and Jay absolutely annihilating each other over cupcakes,
Yep.
right?
We fight.
Fight hard.
They go quick, you know. We bring like a dozen over to the family. They're gone quick. So you got to
Yeah.
kind of like,
almost immediately.
it's like when you get a dozen donuts and you're like, yo, I really want that glaze. Like, don't touch
Yes.
that. It's like that. you
So
know?
like next time you guys bring cupcakes out at a function, can you guys record it?
oh,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get like video
Yes.
footage.
Maybe we'll
of
start
us.
doing episodes of just people fighting over the cupcakes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Be good shoulder content for your business.
There's a lot of it too, and then our family functions tend to get pretty big. We've got a big family, and even our family that comes up from the city, they know the deal too. Like every time we get together, they're like, "Oh, did Lindsay make these? Like, are these the ones from last time?" And
Or I get mad when if they get it from somewhere else.
Right.
Or
right,
don't show up with no ShopRite shits.
for real.
I've already lived this life of eating Sweeter Than Sweet Cupcake.
We're
I'm not
bougie.
going back. You know what I mean?
We're cupcake snobs now. Now we're like, is it from that other place?
But speaking of things that you've done for us specifically, talk about you do custom orders like you said,
Yeah.
right? So you also do cakes, right?
Yep.
It's not just cupcakes,
Right.
and stuff.
I don't work with fondant. So like sometimes, people will send me a picture with this crazy cake covered in fondant. I don't do stuff like that. I just do what I feel comfortable doing.
Which is great. I love that you never overshoot,
Right.
Yeah,
or
overextend.
undersell.
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Like if someone hits me up and they're trying to get something from me that I know like might not look right, cuz like just cuz I have this skill doesn't mean that I have the skill to do everything.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
It
Yeah,
just
nobody
doesn't work
can.
like that, right?
Yeah.
So
Especially, I
But-
think if you specialize in something,
Yeah.
like your cupcakes are really amazing.
Right.
So it's like that doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna make
Yeah,
this
it's good
other
to focus
dessert
on the
great.
one thing.
Right,
Yeah, it's
right.
totally okay to just master that craft. And
Right.
yeah,
Especially
totally
as a small
true.
business, I'm sure.
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly.
Like you said, you're trying to still figure out like your menu and stuff and
Yep.
what works for you. So-
right.
We actually stopped. So every one of my kids' birthday parties, and there's a lot of them. A lot of
lot of
kids.
kids.
a lot of kids.
What are you up to, 9 now?
Something like that. I don't know. I lost track. I started leaving them in places. We always make sure that like Lindsay's my go-to for birthday cakes or cupcakes. I actually stopped doing birthday cakes and just switched to doing your giant cupcakes because those are incredible. I do a giant cupcake and then just surrounded by
Yeah.
regular size cupcakes. So talk about that giant cupcake real quick because I love that thing.
The giant cupcake. All right. So it's not just like a big cupcake. It's a cake
Right.
that's in the shape of a cupcake, right?
I'm going to ignore that part. I like thinking that it's a giant
I
cupcake.
know, right? No, I have like a special mold to
Yeah.
make the bottom and the top. And it fits inside of a chocolate cupcake holder that I make myself. And then I just decorate it.
Yeah.
They're
What are
cute.
those things called? The paper things?
Yeah, so it's like a cupcake holder.
Yeah. I thought there was a name.
No, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And it's chocolate.
Yeah. Yep.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Like I still can't get past this thing. It's so cool. My kids love them. Like everybody that, comes to the kids' birthday parties, they're always like, this is genius. Because let's be honest, not knocking birthday cakes or anything like that, but they go to waste. You get this big extravagant cake and nobody really eats those. The cupcakes go a long way.
Yes. And you can get a bunch of flavors.
Yeah.
So if someone doesn't like vanilla, you got chocolate or whatever, you know? This is what I try to explain to people.
Right.
Because like for weddings, people like to do these huge cakes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do huge cakes. I specialize in cupcakes. So I mess with the cakes, but they're on the smaller side.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, why don't you just do a smaller cake for like you and your man to cut? And then you get a bunch of cupcakes, different flavors. And
It's
like
definitely
a lot.
changing the game.
Yeah. So like a lot of people are about it. Some people like to just stay traditional. And that's totally fine. But I do like the vibe of like the different flavors and their personal, single serving.
There's so much to it.
I'd rather have like 3 different cupcakes than like a big piece of cake.
Yeah. So Jay and I are not cake
Lemon
people.
blueberry. That's one of her specialties.
Like Jay and I just aren't cake people in general. Like, we can take it or leave it, but the cupcakes will tear up all day. And there's something that just makes us feel better about tearing up 5 cupcakes versus like having a lot of cake.
Yeah.
You can justify it somehow. These little cupcakes. It's
I like varieties. So,
Right.
Word.
I used to pick up like 4 or 6 packs all the time. Like, I got 3 of these and 3 of these.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to Cindy's house. I'm like, all right. But really, he was going home.
Yeah. I know Sin used to curse me because, especially when Lindsay first started her business, I would post the cupcakes and I'd, tag her. So like people were following her and then people would hit me up. Yo, where'd you get that? I'd try to get her like business and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Cindy would text me like, you bastard. I saw you went to Lindsay's. I know you're home. I'd be like, sorry, man.
But think
Don't
about
come
it.
over here. You ain't getting no cupcakes.
We lived across the street from each other, Jay and I. So it was like, bro, if you're going to stop at Sweeter Than Sweet Cupcakes and pick up some cupcakes, like, don't disrespect me by not bringing me some. I'm across the street. You walk across the street.
Especially if
you
it was
give me
one
a
of those
cupcake.
sold out flash sales. You definitely wasn't getting no cupcakes.
It was every
from
man
me.
for himself every single time. But I want to rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned when you first started baking, you were newly sober.
Yep.
How long have you been sober now?
7 years.
7 years.
It's great.
That's no small thing. That's a big deal. And now you're a business owner,
Yeah.
a mom, all of those things. So I'm really proud of you for that.
It's inspiring.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Also, I haven't drank in a long time, so me and Lindsay always have that in common, and we're always talking to each other and helping each other out with that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
congrats
Jay,
to you.
Thanks. You too.
You're
Thanks.
at 9 years now, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think next year I make 10 years.
Yeah, next
since
year
I had
we're gonna
Dope.
throw a real dry banger.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a decade.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
that's a
crazy.
long time.
Yeah,
I
it's a
know.
really long
That's
time.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
That's
lot of
weird.
people don't understand it, but like it's really something to celebrate.
Yeah, for sure. 'Cause
So a
it's
dry
hard.
banger.
Yeah, dry banger. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we in there.
Hosted by us and Sweeter Than Sweet. There'll be a lot of cupcakes.
A whole lot of
Yes.
cupcakes. So, if you don't mind me asking, what were you coming clean from?
Heroin,
Heroin.
mostly.
Okay.
There were other things, but that was the drug of choice.
So tell me about that a little bit. How long were you
Using?
Mhm.
A few years, but it all started when I was 17.
Mhm.
I was just around people that were messing with pills. And then one day they didn't have pills. They had heroin and they were like, oh, well, it's the same thing and it's cheaper.
So were you doing the pills also when you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I had really bad social anxiety. I've come a long way, obviously.
Look at you. Now you're on the pod.
You're right. So, but no, I had really bad social anxiety and like I was hanging out with these people and like, I don't know what made me do it. Cause like that's, I feel like is everybody's question or people that haven't been through it.
Right.
They're like,
what made you use the very first
yeah,
time?
like they'll be
Right.
like, oh, well, why would you even do it?
Yeah.
But like when you have mental health things going on that aren't being taken care of because you don't know how to take care of them, something is presented in front of you and you see other people.
Yeah, and you see that like they're still like functioning.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and they're your friends.
Right.
And you spend every day with them.
Right. So basically, like, I started with the pills, and then I want to say within like a few weeks that was presented to me, and I was like, all right, and I did it.
This was the heroin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I did it, and then I kept doing it, and then like one day I woke up and I was like really sick, and I didn't know why, and apparently you withdraw. I never knew. I know now.
Yep.
Never knew. So, and then my parents kind of caught on, and like I was 17, so they were allowed to send me to like treatment. And I couldn't leave because I was under 18. So like when you're under 18, you have to do what your parents say. So, I went to a treatment center, and I didn't touch anything for a long time, but I still had the social anxiety.
Right.
I didn't put the work in to, you know, figure out what the cause was that was making me want to do these things.
Want to use it.
That's a really, really huge thing that you're saying right now. Because I think that a lot of people who have never had an addiction, a lot of people who have never dabbled with drugs or anything like that,
right?
It's so easy for them to say, well, why'd you do it in the first place?
Yeah.
And everything. And I even think that a lot of people who have became sober and made the decision to quit, you know, whatever their drug of choice was, I even think they don't talk about that enough either, because maybe they don't even know. Like, it's a huge deal that you're aware that the reason you started in the first place was because you had a problem that you didn't know how to fix.
Right. So you have to figure that out, because otherwise, obviously, you're just going to end up back where you were.
Right.
So yeah, I was like clean for a while, but I was still young. And like I said, I didn't know like what was causing me to want to use. And then a few years went by, and I was like probably mid-20s, and I had my wisdom teeth taken out, and they give you like Vicodin or Percocet or whatever.
Yep.
You know, then I thought, oh, I could do pills sometimes here and there, you know, like every few weeks, like I could do pills, and it's okay, because like I don't need it every day, so it's not a problem, till it became a problem. And then one day I was like, I really want to do pills today. Couldn't find any. So
What'd you find? Yep.
Exactly. So like I knew someone that was using heroin, and I hit them up, and I was like, yo, do you have that? And at first the person was like, no, like I'm not giving that to you.
Right.
But misery loves company.
Yep.
So obviously they ended up giving it to me, and then it was just downhill from there. So for, I think it was like 3 or 4 years, I was just on a downhill battle. Lost my job. I lost my license because I got a second DWI.
So just speaking to your parents again, did they know that you were back to using drugs again?
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah. So I didn't live with them. I lived with an ex.
Okay.
And, you know, they knew, and like I wasn't allowed at their house, and cops were called. And at one point I wasn't even allowed on their road. So they definitely knew.
I think another thing too, like what people don't understand that don't use or have never used, is that like when you're in that mindset too, like you don't know that like everybody knows.
No.
You know
No.
what I mean?
Right.
Like,
you think you're being slick. You think you're getting away with it.
Yeah, and you just don't realize really how it looks from the outside looking.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So like you definitely think that nobody knows.
Yep.
And you also don't care.
Yep.
Like you don't care that, you know, this person thinks you're high because like you told them you're not.
Yep.
So you're not.
Yep.
So
you
that's
know?
that,
But
right.
they know. So now like when I deal with people that, you know, they're sober but they think, you know, their significant other or their friend or whatever is using.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, but they'll be like, well, they told me that they're not. I'm like, well, what drug addict is going to be like, yeah,
you
know,
yep.
I'm doing heroin or whatever
Well,
they're
since
doing.
you asked.
You know what I
I
mean?
guess I'll
like,
just tell you.
yeah,
Right.
So, you know, if I was randomly decided to get high, like today, everybody would know.
Yep, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, so.
So now you're using again.
Mm-hmm.
Your parents know it's a known thing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go from that to being clean?
So a few years went by, and then my mom, do you remember Operation Medicine Cabinet?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So my mom like followed that Facebook page, and she met this lady Jen through there. Her son was an addict in recovery, and he was down in Florida for treatment. Actually, I think he was like done with treatment at that point, but working down there in a treatment facility.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom like contacted her, and then I ended up going to a place around here out in Carmel called Arms Acres. And I'm never going to hate on a place because like anything will work if you let it work.
Yeah.
That place didn't work for me. As soon as I got out, I was like, okay, I have $40. Where are we going? You know?
As soon as you got out.
Yes, when I went to the place here in New York.
Right.
So then when my mom contacted this lady, my mom was like, do you want to go to Florida for treatment? And I was like, yeah, Florida sounds great. It had nothing to do with the desire to want to get clean. It was like Florida sounded cool. Mm-hmm. But like, obviously I'm happy because I went down there and that was the last time I used. So
when you were going down to Florida, did you at that point have any intention of stopping?
No.
Did you want to stop?
No. I mean, like, I literally remember like laying in my ex's bed thinking like, this is it. Like, this is my life. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what my life is going to be forever.
Right.
So when I went there, I don't know. Like, I really didn't think, like, in my head, I wasn't going there to get clean. I was just going to Florida, you know? But I did know where I was going. So it just worked out.
You were like, I'll ride the wave and go back about my business.
I also got blessed with, like, a really, really good therapist that I think is one of the reasons why I actually decided to, like, put the work in and go through with it. I've tried, like, other people up here, and they kind of tell me what I already know.
Right.
So I don't do therapy now, but that was, like...
I'd say you're doing pretty well for
game
yourself.
changer. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So you went down there, you had no intentions of getting clean, and then was it like a switch at some point during the treatment where you were like...
Well, think about it like this. I was in a place that I've never been to before, so, like, it's not like I could just go somewhere and get drugs.
Yeah,
right.
hit
know what I
somebody
mean?
up.
Yeah,
just like you said
true.
before. Oh, well, I know somebody. I gave them a call.
So most of the people there also were not
clean.
from Florida. They were from, like, New York, Ohio, Jersey, stuff like that.
So they didn't have connects either.
No. Nobody had cars. You know what I mean? Like, and the first place I was in for 40 days, and it was inpatient. So, like, you couldn't just come and go. You know what I mean? So then I did the outpatient part for, I think I was down there for like 5 months almost altogether. So inpatient was for 40 days, and then the outpatient was the rest of it. Mm-hmm. And that's when you get to, like, come and go as you please. Like, you have a curfew and stuff like that. But again, like, I was around other people that were clean, newly clean, obviously. But again, nobody had cars. Like, nobody knew anybody to get stuff from. So, and we were all, like, keeping ourselves busy. We all formed, like, these great bonds, and, you know, we were there for each other. And I think that also helped, you know,
for sure,
for all of us.
Right.
So,
are you still in touch with any of them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really? That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's really good.
A few people relapsed, but I think everybody is clean now for a while too. So
that's huge.
Yeah.
So you were in that facility, you got clean, and you came back. Mm-hmm. That had to have been tough to come back to the environment where it started.
It was tough not because of that though.
Okay.
It was tough because I was never supposed to come back, but I got pregnant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So your plan was to stay in Florida?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was never supposed to come back here.
Right.
But
in your mind,
I had to.
Staying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my parents.
Oh, they
did not want me coming back here at all.
Was that because they were afraid that if you came back to the environment, it was going to happen again?
Yeah, it's not like they didn't want me to come back because they didn't want me around.
Right.
They were just afraid that, like, I was going to come back and,
they
like...
They wanted the best for you.
Yeah.
If it was Florida, then it was Florida.
Right.
And then you got pregnant with B.
Yeah.
So you came back home.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you feel like getting pregnant helped your sobriety even more?
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Like, I still put the work in. You know what I mean? But, like, I just think being pregnant, I knew, like, all right, obviously the dad isn't involved. Mm-hmm. So, like, he can't have he's not going to have one parent, so he has to have the other.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
So it really made me like, I guess, more focused and driven. And it's even more now.
It's a real testament to who you are to your core, right? Because you made that decision not to go down there necessarily, but once you were clean, obviously you both know because you're both sober, every day is a decision to not use anything.
Yeah.
Right? Every day, and every time somebody offers you a drink, or anytime somebody's like, you know, hey, you come into this party, or whatever the case may be, you both make a conscious decision 24/7 to not use whatever the drug of choice was, right? That's exhausting, I'm sure. I can't speak to it, but it has to be incredibly exhausting.
It's exhausting at first.
Right.
But then once you see like the blessings of putting the work in,
Right.
it gets easier because like I would never want to go back to that life.
Right.
However, I also don't want to be around that kind of stuff either.
Right. You
Not
don't wanna
because
be in that position.
Right. Not because like it makes me want to use. It's because it just, I hate seeing other people like that. I just
It's
don't.
triggering
And
for
like
you?
it happens, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like and it's not just the one specific drug. It's like I don't like being around anybody. Like if you smoke, that's fine. I don't care about that. But
Right.
I hate being around like people that are shit faced. I don't like being around people that are just like nodding out. It's just not. I mean, who does?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, I'll be like, you know, it happened once, and I was like, you know, this person is high right now, right? Oh, what do you mean? I'm like, I gotta get out of here because like, how do you not see that?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but like it drives me nuts. So
I also think too, it like not that one is better than the other or anything like that. You know, substance is substance, right? And I also think though with depending on what your substance was, that can really determine how hard things are, right?
Yeah.
So like Jay's sober from alcohol for almost a decade, as we said. And it's so socially acceptable. It's so in your face. It's so all over the place. And that kind of becomes one that I only imagine is so much harder to have to constantly fight away, right? I mean, maybe with time it gets easier. You could speak to that.
Well, I was going to say, kind of going off of what Lindsay was saying, is you find ways to battle it easier, you know? So like when I first stopped drinking, I'd go out to a party and I wouldn't be drinking anything. And people would be like, you want to drink? You want to drink? I'd be like, nah. And they'd be like, why? And I'd be like, I don't drink. And they'd be like, well, why don't you drink? You know what I mean? I also say, like, if you tell somebody you quit cocaine, they're not going to be like, why'd you quit coke? Like, it's fun as shit. You know what I mean?
Very true.
But so, like, when I go somewhere, I always bring seltzer, or I'll bring iced teas, or like NA beers or something, you know. Something so that like I always have a drink in my hand. That way people aren't like trying to put a drink in my hand.
right.
So like stuff like that makes it easier. And I think like you said, over time, you just, it doesn't bother me as much being like, oh, I don't drink. Cause I quit drinking really young. I was 22 years old.
Yeah.
And that makes it even harder because everybody's especially like, what do you mean you don't drink?
Everybody's just starting drinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Like heavily. At that
you know,
age.
back then I used to be insecure about it.
Right.
About like saying that I was sober, and like, you know, people make you like feel bad about it. Like I still have people who ask me like, I'm sure you could just have one beer.
Right.
And I'm like, no, you don't get it. Like,
right.
You
I'm
don't
drinking
want me
10
to have a
beers.
beer.
People really don't get it though. So like I drank occasionally after I got clean.
Yep.
But now I don't drink at all because like I couldn't drink without getting a white girl wasted every time. Even if
Right.
it was like 3 times a year, like I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Right.
And like recently I had a conversation with someone about the same thing because they were like, you can't just have like one. And I was like, you don't get it. Like you really just don't understand. Like I can't.
Yep.
Also, I think it's pointless.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that like I think 1 or 2 drinks is
Pointless,
stupid.
yeah.
It's a waste of money. Why?
Such a waste of
What
money.
is the point?
Yeah.
So like, you know, obviously that means I can't drink just 1 or 2. So
Yeah.
I just choose
Yeah.
not to now.
Yep.
And that was
You
a
know?
point that I started to get to too. I don't think that I was getting, well, I don't know. Maybe I was getting wasted, but I wasn't getting wasted all the time, but it was becoming too much of a habit for me to reach
Yeah.
for alcohol.
Well, I think also a lot
Right.
of people like diminish, like if you tell them like you don't want to drink for a certain reason, they're like, oh, well, it's not that bad. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And it's like everybody's bottom is different. Like you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to be homeless, like a homeless alcoholic
Right.
to realize drinking isn't helping your life.
Yeah.
So like for
Right.
me, you know, I was 22, so I was still a kid, and like, you know, a lot of people, you know, like when I told them were surprised, you know what I mean? Because like, sure, I used to drink a lot, but I was a young kid, and like that's kind of, especially like where I come from and like all my friends, like we used to get fucked up a lot. And
A lot.
shut up. But I'm just saying, like, it doesn't have, like, I didn't have to, you know, lose my job and everything to realize. For me, it was that, you know, I woke up one day hungover as shit, and I was just like, this isn't, like, I'm going to lose everything if I keep going, you know. And I do have an addictive personality, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, like I still smoke pot, but it's like, it doesn't change who I am. So like I'm able to use it and enjoy myself without it affecting anybody else. You know what I mean? Where it's like if I'm drinking alcohol, I know it's going to affect, you know, all the people in my life and my family and my friends and my band and my music, you know what I mean? And same thing with drugs, you know what I mean? If it's going to affect your life and change your life in a bad way,
Right.
like there's nothing wrong with stopping anything that doesn't make you feel good.
Right.
Know, so
There was a couple of times. So it's been a couple of months that I haven't been drinking, and my thing was that my daughter told me, she made a comment along the lines of, I can't wait till I'm old enough to drink. And just even in my family, and it's no knock to them or anything, but it's what we do when we get together.
we're Boricua.
You know what I'm saying? So it's what we do when we get together. So my kids are surrounded by it the same way we were when we were growing up, and it's so acceptable, and it's how a lot of us bond with each other. You know, all of that normalcy to the point where she's looking forward to being able to do it. So that was kind of an eye opener for me. And she would also make comments too, like, oh, I love when you have some wine, you know, you're so much more relaxed. That's not something you want to hear from your kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's innocent coming from her mouth, but at the same time, it smacked me in the face, because I was like, damn, like, is this the vibe? Like, is she only, you know, like, they're like, oh, you know, when she has some drinks, she's nicer or more pleasant, you know?
Right.
So that opened my eyes to a lot of different things. But I wanted to show her that you can be all of the great things. Like, I'm still my hilarious, all over the place, chaotic self. I'm still all of those things, and I could still have a good time, and I could still relax, you know, but that took work for me, because I wasn't relaxing. I wasn't like taking the edge off or coming down from a stressful day without it. So it's a big testament to, you know, those moments that kind of open your eyes a little bit, and you're like, yeah, we could do without this. And again, it's nobody's fault. It's just how society is right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And how it's been for a long time. So back to you. So you got pregnant, you came back home, you had B. Has it been never looking back to that life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Like, I still have to work hard every day.
Yeah.
Like, I still have to have coping skills and like these like thoughts in my head to make sure that like I don't go backwards.
It's a lifelong battle.
Yeah.
You'll never, you know, unfortunately, you never stop battling it.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, I'm grateful for it, because I feel like this helps me push further to do better things.
It gives you perspective.
Yeah.
Kind of like when, like you said, like when B was born, that gave you
Yeah.
a different perspective. Like, oh, he has one parent. I have to go even harder to make sure that I'm not the person that I used to be.
Yep.
Right.
Right. I had somebody a few years ago actually say, like, how long have you been clean for? And I think at the time it was like 5 years or something. And I said like 5 years, and they were like, oh, you're not in recovery, you're recovered. And I was like, no, I'll always be in recovery. Like, what do you mean? And they were like, oh, so you can't just go and smoke a blunt? And I was like, well, I could do whatever I want, but like, I personally don't like weed, because I'll be in my car hiding. So, you know,
and what people don't realize too is that, like, but that could also trigger you to use any other thing, or same thing like you said. when you first got clean, like you were still drinking. It's very socially acceptable.
Right.
But you realize like that's not good for you either, and that you're gonna overuse.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
That you're gonna abuse the alcohol rather than, like you said, have one pointless drink.
Yeah. You know? Exactly. Yep.
So you're back. You've got B, and you're baking, which starts in your parents' kitchen. How did you take that leap to I'm gonna open up my own business? Because we were there for that. You know?
that was really cool to see.
Yeah,
it really
was
inspiring, really fun. Yeah. You know, to like watch you take that step and like move into a place.
Right.
And be like, yo, I got my own business now.
Yeah,
it really inspired us. You know what I mean? Just to see one of our friends go and do that, and to like drive by every day in Walden and be like, hey, there's Lindsay's store. You know, I've told a million people about it.
Yeah,
you know, so.
and that's the thing. Like, we're so proud of you, because it's like. And this is why we spoke about, you know, your past and everything you've been, because it's like, not only is starting your own business, opening up your own business, not only is that a huge leap for anyone to take, but to go from where you were to where you are now, your boss bitch, are you serious? Like, it's so cool. We're at a point in our life, right? We're in our 30s. We're at a point in our life where a lot of people are trying to figure out, like, and also post-pandemic, we've got different mentalities now.
For sure.
We're not trying to work for the man. We're not trying to spend our days being unhappy. You know, it's like, how can we do what we love, make money doing what we love, and be successful in that way, you know? So I just happen to know that there's a lot of people right now in my life that are like wanting to take that step, but are so scared to do so. So how did you do it?
Listen, if you don't take the step, you'll never know.
That's right.
Even if you crash and burn.
Yeah, you tried.
You just get back up and you figure it out.
That part. That's,
I don't know.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Like, that's it. Like, I know other people wanting, same thing. Like, they want to start a business, but they're afraid. Like, oh my God, what if it doesn't work out? Well, then it doesn't work out.
Right.
But like, what if it does?
Yeah, it's worth trying.
Right?
Everything is worth trying if you want to do it.
Right. So, but the difference, I will say, between like me and someone else just wanting to start a random business is like, I had the customer base already.
Yeah.
So I already knew people were going to come to me. Mm-hmm. I know I have a great product, and I'm not saying that to be like cocky.
No,
it's just because I know what I'm putting into it, and I know that I have a talent, and that's just, it is what it is. Yeah.
I just love to hear you say, like, I know my product is good, you know?
Well, because some people are afraid to say that. Like, if you're a singer, right, and you're making like billions of dollars, you have to know you're a good singer.
Yeah. Right.
Or you have to at least trick people into thinking it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, like, I am only saying this going off of feedback from people that have had my stuff, you know? So I'm only saying what they're saying.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
was it terrifying for you?
Yeah. Because, like, I, again, had really bad social anxiety. So I was like, shit. Like, I don't know how I'm going to deal with all these people. Oh, I'll just hire somebody. They could deal with that side of it. Right. But obviously, you know.
And you're a one-woman show.
Yeah. I've tried employees, and, you know, I'll get back there one day. But it hasn't really worked out. And I do like doing everything myself now. Like, when I first opened, I was like, or like when I knew I was opening a place, but like before I opened, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, I cannot do this myself. Now, like, after going through a few employees, I'm like, I feel good doing this myself.
Yeah.
But like, if I want to grow, I can only do so much as one person.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, like you said, one day you'll get there again when you'll know when it's time, and at least you know now. Like we always say, everything is trial and error, right? So you started and you tried other things. Same thing with the flavors. Like you're working those things out, and it'll just get better over time or easier for you.
Yep.
Tell everybody where they can find you, aside from your storefront, because we want them showing up. Come through to Sweeter Than Sweet Cupcakes on Main Street in Walden, New York. If you want to check out Lindsay's products and keep track of what she's doing, and if you do flash sales ever again or anything like that, where can they find you?
So you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Sweeter Than Sweet Cupcakes. I do not bake out of my house anymore. So please don't ask me to do that. You know, like,
Are
hey,
you still getting people that are like,
yes,
hey. That's crazy.
especially since I've been closed for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Like, let me get a 4-pack, yo. I need that.
No, sorry, I'm closed. They're like, well, can't you just like do some at your house? I'm like, sorry, but I'm not lugging a mixer and like all my product to my house
No.
to do this and then forget something and have to go back.
You upgraded. That's it. You're a business now.
Exactly. And like,
Yep.
honestly, like I would never ask somebody to take their work home for me.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like people don't see it like that, but it's the same thing.
Right.
But yeah,
What do you love about what you do?
I love everything. I love the people most of the time.
You always got a couple of bad eggs in there.
Yeah. I like that I get to do what I love. You know, doing it every day as a full-time job aside, you know, instead of like a side hustle changes things.
Right.
You know, like I don't care who you are. You're never going to do something all day, every day and like love it the whole time.
Yeah,
There's
I've
always
said that.
Yeah, like even if you love it, like there's always going to be something that like
Sucks about
you don't
it.
like, or damn, I just had to spend $600 on product. Like,
Or the time it takes for you to get all prep all the
Yeah.
stuff. So it's like
right.
people don't realize, all right, you have your own business, you do something
Right.
you really love, but you're also losing time, you know, with your family,
Yeah.
you're losing time with your friends to hang out.
Right. And think about this. Like, when am I the most busy? On the weekend.
Yep.
So everybody's always like, when are you going to come hang out? And this and that.
Right.
And I'm like,
They're getting ready to go to the party that bought a bunch of your cupcakes.
yeah, word.
You're
I know,
like,
but
gotta keep
I can
making
never
them.
go to the parties.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
sorry.
It's definitely huge sacrifices that you have to make as
Yeah.
a business owner, especially being a one-woman
Yeah.
show. You know,
Yeah.
you do miss out on a lot of things. But
Yep.
I just want to say I think you're kicking ass.
Thank you.
I'm so blown away by you. That seems to be my line these days. Is I'm so blown away by you. But I am.
Trademark that. Yeah.
Yeah. for
Word.
real.
And
I'm
your
gonna
laugh.
get T-shirts that says I'm so blown away by you.
Right. And your laugh. Like, you have to trademark it.
Yeah. But we're so proud of you. Like Jay said, we're so inspired by you. I'm so happy that my daughter sees you as a
Oh my
role model
God,
because that's
yes.
huge. And thankfully, Tati tells her that herself. You know,
Yeah.
you know I'm not lying when I say it because she
I
says
know.
it without me even
I
knowing.
know.
But you are. You're a role model to not only women everywhere, young girls everywhere, but addicts,
Yeah, everybody in recovery. and
everyone in
People
recovery.
who aren't in recovery yet.
Yeah.
But it could be you too.
Yeah.
You can get clean.
Absolutely.
100%. So what advice do you have to anybody who's hesitant to take that leap into not only doing what they love, but profiting off of what they love and starting their own business? Like, do you have any advice for, you know, anybody who might want to be getting into that?
There are some things that I wish that I knew and learned before I opened. Cause like, yes, I had the customer base and I know how to make a good cupcake, but I didn't know the business side of it. So just
Right.
like try to maybe learn some things, but like really my advice is to just do it. Just do it.
Take the leap.
Yeah.
I love that.
Why not?
I love that. And how about not to put you on the spot even more, but do you have any advice for anybody who might be struggling with their recovery?
Yeah. So put in the work. And if you put in the work, you could be living your best life. You know, I am.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, nobody, like, did this for me.
Right.
Did it myself. Like, yeah, I have huge support from, like, my family and stuff like that. And they do help me. But, like, they didn't put in the physical work that I did.
Right.
You know? So I got myself here.
You sure
You know what
did.
I mean? Like,
You sure
anybody can do it. Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
You're a business owner. You're a single mother.
Mm-hmm.
You're a kick-ass friend to the people that love you, including myself and
you.
including Jay. We're proud of you, and we're so happy that you were on here.
Thank you.
Thank you. We love you.
Love
Thanks
you
for
too.
coming on.
Thanks.
Yes, thanks.
Check out Sweeter Than Sweet Cupcakes in Walden.
Absolutely.
And we're going to blow out of here. We're going to say peace on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Peace.